All right, YouTube. As you can see the title of this video, I'm pretty sure you guys might have some questions like, can kids get approved for credit cards? Is that legal? Today we're going to talk about exactly how it can be. Stay tuned. So I'm pretty sure all of you have at some point wondered, how do I get credit when you have to have credit to get credit? So this growing up was a question that I always had, and I just didn't know the answer to how this could be. How can you get something you just don't have? So becoming financially responsible yourself is really going to help you put your children in a position to be more financially successful and healthy on their own. So establishing a good credit payment history, we've talked about this many times, being really good with using less than 30% of a credit card's available line on the line of credit. These are some things that you're going to want to do on this specific card that I'm going to introduce you to in just a second. Most credit card companies will allow an authorized signer, right? The legal age for a credit card is 18 years old. So you've got to be 18 years old to get approval on a credit card on your own, right? So that's a legal age that you have to be at. Now, what you can do as a parent or as a guardian, whatever you want to call yourself, you can add someone onto your account as an authorized signer. So for example, let's say that you've got a 5-year-old and you have a credit card that you've been really good on and you want to put your 5-year-old's name on your credit. What you can do is basically add your child onto the card as an authorized user. They are not responsible to pay back the liability, but they do take on the good credit history and the on-time payments and utilization. So everything you do on this credit card will actually benefit your kid. So paying your bills on time, using less than 30%, establishing a long history of credit, right? So if you get this credit card when they're 5 years old and you maintain it the way you should, because you want to do the best for your children, right? By the time they're 18, they won't have any issues moving into an apartment, providing loans for themselves in their names without needing co-signers, or being held captive to pay extremely high interest rates on credit cards and things like that. You know, obviously you want to educate your child as well to be financially capable and successful, but this allows them to have a step up against the competition, right? So they're not going to have to pay, like I said, the worse your credit is and the least amount of credit history you have, the more interest you're going to pay, the more deposit you're going to need on an apartment, and so forth. So some of the things you would not want to do with this situation, and I've seen things like this before, and some of you may have seen situations like this too. I've seen parents actually abuse this. I've seen parents actually put their children's names on accounts and credit cards because they have messed up their own credit. So for example, they may want to rent an apartment and they need to turn on the electricity, and he puts it in his son's name because his son has good credit. Well, he had good credit after this guy, is going to go and ruin his credit. So by the time the kid grows up, he's screwed. So it works in both directions. This is the big key here. So if you want to be responsible, I would definitely say, do this on a card or account that you're just going to do the absolute best, absolutely no missed payments, because the worst thing you could do for your kid is actually mess his credit up. So that's not going to help your kid. So you don't want to do those sort of things. You don't want to add your kid to an account that you've been late on, or on a card that you have not, you've utilized too much of the available credit and it looks bad. You want this to almost be a perfect credit card. So just be careful on the type of card. Even if you have other cards that you're going to use for your regular purchases like gas and groceries and what else, keep those just in your name. But have this one specific one that you intentionally use for your kid to build their credit. So this is a quick tip that I wanted to share with you guys that will really help to get your kid or your children, in plural, however many you have, into a better credit space. So by the time they are 18, they're not going to have a problem getting approved for things on their own. So they can get their first job, they can get a really good interest rate on their first vehicle. They're not going to have to pay deposits when they rent an apartment, etc. So that's really going to help them get in a better financial place from a credit standpoint. I hope that helped somebody today, and someone who may have had questions in regards to authorized users. So call your credit card company today and ask, do you allow authorized signers? 99% of the time they will. So try that out, and I hope that it helps somebody onto a better future. All right, guys, have a great night.